Yes, I'm still here, Hollywood. And coming up on today's episode...
I met Woody the night before his audition. Woody says, hey, look, I'm auditioning for your show tomorrow. I'm auditioning to replace the coach, be the new bartender. And I said, oh, man, that's great. Well, my name's George. What's your name? He goes, Woody. And I said, oh, no, not the character name. What's your name? He goes, Woody. I went, I think I might be seeing you tomorrow. I don't know. And sure enough.
Say, your nephew is Jason Sudeikis.
Indeed he is.
Did you have any advice for him when he got into the business?
I forget. It was Letterman or Conan or somebody said, did your Uncle George have any advice for you? And Jason goes, yeah, he told me just get on the best show on television and one of the greatest shows of all time and just pretty much take it from there.
When you think about the biggest comedy shows in television history, there are always a few things that stand out. There's, of course, the writing, the ensemble cast, sometimes the music. And there's very often at least one character whose name resonates, staying in pop culture for decades. This fact is pretty much the norm. And it's that norm that I'm talking about. This is Still Here Hollywood. I'm Steve Kmetko. Join me with today's guest, George Wendt, Norm from Cheers. George, do you miss Cheers?
God, yes.
Do you?
You know how I know?
How?
I have dreams about it.
That's pretty committed to a show.
Yeah. I mean, and they're really happy dreams. You know, be like, we'll be sitting there and we'll be laughing hysterically, and Burroughs will say, that's great, let's put it in the show, you know, and then I wake up and there's no show to put it into.
How long has this been going on?
Well, I don't know, 1993, I guess. Yeah.
Were you drinking real beer on the set?
Nope.
No,
it was non-alcoholic, near beer, flat, warm, salty. Yeah.
Really got you in the mood, huh?
And then once in a while, towards the end of the evening, we would, you know, shoot pickups of stuff that we only took one pass. So we had a list of pickups that were a little dodgy. So at that point, we would ask the prop man to crack out the real beers, including the producers and writers and Burroughs and everybody. Yeah.
Was it like that? I remember there was a period of time, because I was working for an NBC affiliate in Louisville, Kentucky, early in my career. And I remember when Cheers came on, because it was so good right off the bat, it seemed to me. But I think they had difficulty finding an audience in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it almost got canceled.
Yeah. We were last, dead last in the ratings.
What fixed it?
Nothing. Time. You know, letting... okay, Grant Tinker and Brandon Tartikoff, in their wisdom, you know, decided to abandon the develop, you know, pilot, order, cancel cycle, and just trust the creators and the material and leave it there until the audience found it. Because they were last for maybe a decade, you know, in the three networks at the time. So, you know, that's why they hired Grant Tinker, because of his quality work at MTM. And so he put on, like, you know, St. Elsewhere, Cheers, you know, Family Ties. Just, you know, he had a relationship with Gary Goldberg, and so, you know, it was. History proved that it worked out for him.
And for Cheers.
And for Cheers. And Brandon Tartikoff was in my first workshop at Second City.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long ago was that? 70s?
73, yeah. He was an executive. I didn't know this. He was just my friend from workshop. Yale guy, my age. You know, I was like, oh, this guy's cool. And, you know, we had a lot of fun together. And then he disappeared one day, and I was like, what happened to Brandon? Well, what happened to Brandon was he was a junior executive at WLS, the O&O ABC station. And Fred Silverman was at ABC at the time, and he called him to New York. And that's why, well, Brandon, it sucks. He was my boy. And then, years later.
How much do you think starting out at Second City helped your career?
Look, it was the entirety of my experience on stage. The entirety of it. I had nothing going on before that. And it's funny because we in the workshops had this little showcase at a church down the road from Second City on Saturday nights, and Brandon and I were too green to be on stage, but we wanted to be on board, so he volunteered to sell coffee and cookies, and I volunteered to set up and break down the folding chairs and stuff. And one night there was this triumphant show, and the audience just buzzing, and as they're filing out, Brandon's breaking down the coffee and cupcakes and whatever, and I'm breaking down the folding chairs, and he goes, "George, one of these days it's going to be me and you up there." Turned out to be true, only it was like 100 million people.
Small crowd.
Yeah.
Second City has such a reputation.
Yeah.
I took a couple of writing classes there.
Oh, great.
Writing the humorous memoir. I didn't have enough of a sense of humor.
Who taught you?
Nancy Beckett. I'm still in touch with her.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And she was very encouraging.
Good.
Let me go back to Cheers for a second. Do you have fond memories of Kirstie Alley? Funny memories of Kirstie Alley?
Oh, my God. She was a pistol, man. She was just hilarious. And, kind of out of her mind in the best possible way. Something, it was very necessary for, where we were all at. You heard the story about our opening night gift?
No.
Well, we're all pretty wrapped up in ourselves, and one night we're at dinner before for Kirstie's first shoot, and she wasn't in the room, and I don't know, Ted, John, me, Rhea, Woody, were there, and oh God, should we get Kirstie something? I mean, it's now 5 or 6 o'clock, and we're like, oh yeah, nobody thought of that yet? And it's like, no, what, flour? No, geez, what do we? And so we should go get her something, and Ted's like, I got to do a thing, and I can't do it. Woody, I had a thing, Rhea. So John and I go, well, all right, we'll go look for something. So we get in my car, and we're driving down Melrose, trashy lingerie and, crazy stores. And we're like,
wig shops.
No, yeah, no. And we pulled up, and there was a Big Five on the right, sporting goods store. And John goes, you want to buy her a shotgun? And I laughed for about 5 minutes. And then I said, yeah, let's do it. And so and that's how easy it was in those days. We walked into Big Five and no questions asked, bought a shotgun and boxed it up, and I guess we might have had it wrapped. And, when the cast found out that that's what we got, I mean, everyone was horrified. You can't do that. And Kirstie, of course, loved it. And but the good news was Kirstie loved it. And the better news was John and I were never sent on a shopping mission again.
That is good news, huh?
Yeah.
Who needs that responsibility?
Yeah.
And Coach. You lost Coach very early on.
Yeah.
I thought he was such a terrific character.
Yes.
And
he
who would have
was.
thought that you'd bring in Woody Harrelson and he would work out as well as he did?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I met Woody the night before his audition. Randomly, I was at Gelson's, and I saw these two young guys giggling and pointing at me, and we were on the air about 2-3 years at that point, so I was getting a little used to that. And one's pushing the other one towards me, and I'm like, then finally he prevails, the kid pushing, and Woody says, "Hey, look, I'm auditioning for your show tomorrow. My friend thought I should say hello. I'm auditioning to replace the coach, be the new bartender." And I said, "Oh man, that's great. Well, man, have fun with that. Let's go get him, you know." And he goes, "Yeah, thanks." I said, "Well, my name's George. What's your name?" He goes, "Woody." And I said, "Oh, no, not the character name," because I knew that the writers I knew that there was a character from Indiana, Woody Boyd. I said, "No, not the character name. What's your name?" He goes, "Woody." I went, I think I might be seeing you tomorrow. I don't know. And sure enough.
And he fit in beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
And now he has this huge movie career.
Yeah. And look back at Nicky Colasanto's movies, too, you know, like Fat City and Raging Bull. And he was amazing.
It's been a while since Cheers went off. It was on for, 11 years?
Yep.
It's been a while since it's gone off the air.
Well, it's never really been off.
Well, true. Reruns. Thank God for reruns. How many people still call you Norm?
Oh, not that many. You know, I look so much older and different. My little brother, on the other hand, though, looks exactly like Norm. And he's like 14 years younger than me, so...
Do you think being so closely identified with Norm during the run of the show kept you from other jobs?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah?
Probably. I mean, there's plenty of examples, you know, of people who it did not keep from, you know, like Woody.
You know, looking through your list of credits in IMDb, have you ever done that? It's very long.
Yeah, well, you know, oh man, I get to say this now. I'm in this business 50 years. You know, like I used to laugh at those guys. I'm in this business 50 years, and these kids today, that's not funny. I know funny. I'm in this business 50 years. That's not funny what they're doing today. Anyway, yeah, me, 19, I'm going to count from workshops with Brandon, 1973, yeah. And also I joined Actors Equity in 1974 when I got hired in the touring company at Second City. So that is bang on 50 years professionally.
Say, your nephew is Jason Sudeikis.
Indeed he is.
Did you have any advice for him when he got into the business?
You know, it's funny because he gets asked that a lot.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, and I saw, I forget, it was Letterman or Conan or somebody said, "Did your Uncle George have any advice for you?" And Jason goes, he's so sharp. He goes, "Yeah, he told me just get on the best show on television and one of the greatest shows of all time and just pretty much take it from there." And he goes, "So I did." And he got on SNL.
And Ted Lasso has
yeah.
secured him. Very, if he wasn't before, he's now a fixture.
Yeah.
On TV.
Yep. Well deserved.
Well, I think so, too.
Oh, he's such a great kid. Yeah, you know, kid. He's 45 or something. I don't know.
That's a kid.
Yeah. My godson. I'm very proud. Proud, especially, you know, not only the success, but he's solid. Have you read profiles and stuff? I mean, he's such a mensch, so smart, so thoughtful. I mean, it all comes out in the show, right?
Right. We'll be back in a moment.
But the better story is Ratzenberger. He goes in for for George. You can tell it's not going too well. And so they're going, well, thank you. And he's like, yeah, thank you. And he starts to go for the door, and he pops his head back into the room, and he goes, do you guys have a bar know-it-all? And they go, no, what do you mean? And he started improvising as this Cliff Clavin character, and they wrote it in.
How close were you to the character of Norm?
I had to look like a guy who wanted another beer. Like, that I can do. There wasn't a whole... I didn't have to put a lot of mustard on anything. It was pretty much just me with material supplied by some of the best, comedy writers in Hollywood of the era. It was Murderers Row. I mean, we had every day of the week we had all these Paramount guys, Jerry Belson, Levine and Isaacs, David Lloyd. Yeah, it was just great.
Do you keep in contact with your castmates, your former castmates? Do you ever run into them?
All of them, yeah, I do. I mean, it's hard to get together, because...
So much is going on.
Yeah. We all have families and yeah. But, yes, I do. I'm in touch with everybody.
Do you have any projects in the works? Anything you want to do?
Not really. I mean, yes, there are projects in the works, but that's so amorphous, unless it's like, a setup movie or something. Like I get things like, hey, what if we got this element and that element? Would you be interested? And it's like, it's a few steps down the road from anything being set up. So it's hard to, say this is the one. So yeah, the answer is various irons in the fire. None of them are going to burn your fingers.
What made you want to get into the business to begin with?
I didn't. All I wanted to do was be in Second City. Yeah, I was so green, so dumb. I had I'm really thankful, de facto, that I had such a short-term goal. Focused. I just I didn't want to be in a job that I hated for the rest of my life. So I started using the process of elimination. Doctor, no, I couldn't possibly. Scientist, no. Teacher, no. Sales, no. And I just went down the list: policeman, fireman, whatever, cowboy. I mean, I couldn't. Nothing. I knew I would hate everything. So then one day I thought of being at Second City, and I thought, wow, if I could do that, I bet I wouldn't hate it. And I'm pretty sure they get paid. And so I sort of called the box office, and they love that. Asked about the workshops, and they said, give us your address, we'll send you a flyer. 13 weeks, $85. Tuesday nights. And it's 6 or something, and we were out by 8. And the show started at 9 back then. It was cabaret, they started at 8 now. They start more like a theater now, but and I don't even know what Second City is anymore. But back then it was a blast. I had fun. And it wasn't really until, I'd been there working, and then, they called from like Leo Burnett or something and said, hey, can you send the people, some of the cast over for we're going to do some commercials, or we're going to have some demos for commercials, that sort of thing. And they said, well, you have to join SAG. I'm like, what? Okay, I guess, yeah, sure. And then, this other project was, oh, yeah, you got to join AFTRA now. And it's like, oh, okay. So here I am, a member of SAG, AFTRA, and Equity. And I go, well, I guess I'm an actor. I mean, it really went in in reverse. It was weird.
Now that you've been an actor for 50 years,
yep.
Can you think back, or can you think about anybody who you wish you could have worked with? Do you have who?
Lots. Oodles. I mean, I didn't really have the opportunity, mind you, but I was in this project, Alice in Wonderland, and I was Tweedledee or Tweedledum, I can't remember. We called him Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. With Robbie Coltrane was my brother, and it was fun. We had a blast. But it was a big star-studded cast. Marty Short was the Mad Hatter and whatnot. And Peter Ustinov was the Walrus. And one day, I never met him. And then one day, we're, driving in a transportation van at Pinewood Studios outside of London or wherever it was. And I see Ustinov standing on a street corner. I'm like, and I practically dove out of the van, and but I couldn't get it open. And how do you roll down the window? And so there he was. But I thought he was awesome. Never met him, but we were in a movie together.
Well, you can always point to that.
Yeah, and that was one of the fun things about multicam comedy, or sitcoms. Rest in peace, so to speak. But we were with everybody was in every day. So you got to meet, like, somebody working with you. You got to hang out with them for like a week, as opposed to a drive-by with Peter Ustinov. Like,
oh, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Are there other Second City stars that you worked with who came up through the ranks?
Yeah, lots and lots.
Shelley Long was in.
Yes, Shelley was there with in the same time. Tim Kazurinsky, Mary Gross.
Mary Gross, I saw her once, long before she went to work at SNL and other shows and films.
Yeah. Jim Belushi, others, like Don DePaul. Yeah, they're not so many Harold Ramises and John Belushi's. Although they were my idols, John Candy. Got to work with him. That was a blast.
I think Joan Rivers did a stint at Second City, too.
Oh, sure. Yeah, everybody.
Elaine May, Mike
You didn't,
Nichols.
wait a minute, you weren't there? You weren't there?
No.
See, you're like the only person in show business that didn't claim Second City.
Well, just took a class, that's all.
Yeah.
Do you remember how you felt the morning after you knew Cheers was ending?
Well, I was ill the boys, Glenn and Les and Jimmy, were into cigars at the time. So they were passing out these huge Cuban, illegal at the time, cigars at the wrap party. And, I'm not a smoker, and I just thought it was cool. And I got completely turned green from inhaling cigar smoke.
You're not supposed to inhale, are you?
But just after a while, it just builds up, I think. Because everyone was smoking it.
Here's a question I'll bet no one's ever asked you. What do you think about the Met Gala?
I don't understand fashion, and my daughter is involved in the apparel design, and she could probably explain it a lot better. But there's that great speech by, I guess it was Meryl Streep, the Amanda Priestley character in
Devil Wears Prada.
Thank you. Yeah, and that made a lot of sense in the movie. I don't remember any of it, but
I think it's where she's talking about the color cerulean blue and
but like why fashion
yes,
is important,
right.
In a real big way, comprehensive way. But it's kind of ludicrous, isn't it?
Well, sometimes I think it's kind of overblown. It's not like they're going to wear these clothes again.
No,
I don't know
never.
if it really counts as fashion per se.
Yeah.
They're not going out the next night in the same clothes.
No, but I think in part of okay, folks. Anyone watching, look up the Miranda Priestley. Anyway, because it makes a lot of sense. Yes, none of this is going to be worn, but it's part of something much bigger. And I forget what it was.
Do you remember your audition process for Cheers? Was there an audition?
I do. I've got a good story there for you. It doesn't involve me. But my end was my agent called and said, okay, I was on this other show with Gary Goldberg called Making the Grade, Paramount show, different networks, CBS. And we had just done 6 as a mid-season sort of tryout, 6 episodes. And so then my agent calls and says, these guys from Cheers, they want you to come in and do a thing. It's a really small role, though, I got to tell you. I go, oh, okay, and I'm flattered, and so I go, how small is it? And she said, well, it's kind of one line. And I go, oh, okay. It's actually, come to think of it, it's one word. I go, oh, really? You're not going to believe it. It's one syllable. And I go, okay, what is it? And she goes, beer. So the bit was, it was to be the tag at the end of the pilot episode, which never really happened to the tag part. But Shelley was going to, I was going to be her first customer. Hello, my name is Diane. I'll be your waitress. So I'm not really a waitress. I'm an academic. And she goes on for a page. And I'm just sitting there like, uh-huh. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. I should take your order. What can I get you? And I go, beer. And she goes, beer. Perfect. And that was the end of the episode. And so the casting director, the late Stephen Kolzak, said, that's one word that's too small to read for the guys. Here, read this other. And the role is George, and it's the guy who, wants another beer. And, I read it, and they offer it to me. And, at first, Paramount said, well, sure, why don't we see if you can do both? And but CBS said no. So they said, well, let's bring you on for the pilot as a guest. And if Making the Grade, this other show, gets picked up, we'll recast. And if it doesn't, we'll probably, keep you. And so then, like 20 years, maybe 10 years ago, like way, way, way later, I found out that they kind of had me in mind when they wrote it. And I was like, I had no idea. And because it was named George, right? And they had worked with, I did a Taxi. And I guess, I guess they thought maybe I'd be right for this norm. And they invited me to come to a symposium at UCSB with the Charles Brothers and Jim Burroughs. And they said, why don't you come and you'll be like a surprise guest about halfway through the program. And so people are going, and I'm sitting in the wing watching, and people are going, now, did you have anybody in mind when you were writing Cheers? And they were like, oh, my God, no. Oh, we saw everybody in Hollywood and New York and Chicago. Meticulous mix and match chemistry. That was Sam and Diane, right? And they go, but Rhea, we did have Rhea in mind, and George. And I'm like, the hell?
That's kind of flattering.
In a way, I'm glad I never knew that. But the better story is Ratzenberger. He goes in for for George. He was new in town, and he'd been working a lot in the UK for 10 years or so. You can tell it's not going too well. And so they're going, well, thank you. And he's like, yeah, thank you. And he starts to go for the door and literally, not figuratively, literally has 1 foot out the door. And he pops his head back into the room and he goes, do you guys have a bar know-it-all? And they go, no, what do you mean? And he started improvising as this Cliff Clavin character, and they wrote it in.
That's
not
a great
bad,
story.
Huh?
No, not bad at all.
Chutzpah, yeah.
George, thanks for doing this. Still Here Hollywood. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, yeah. My pleasure. It was fun.
Still Here Hollywood is a production of the Still Here Network. All things technical run by Justin Zangerle. Theme music by Brian Sanishin. And executive producer is Jim Lichtenstein.